wrong channel, apparently, that I had the wrong setup. I apologize for that, as we're actually over here now at the Sim500 setup broadcast. For some reason, I didn't paste the right link in there. But anyways, that's a good way to start the final race of the season here, Kev. But you were talking about the Homestead-Miami Speedway, of course, a great way to finish out a schedule, a great way to finish out this race. And I know, obviously, it's a great track and one that should always host finales.
Yeah, the competition here is second to none. There's draft, there's strategy, there's progressive banking, there's fuel mileage, there's tire wear. There's a little bit of everything. Drivers will run hard on these restarts, but then have to also mind their P's and Q's for the long run. And it's just a tricky track to navigate for an entire run. We'll see different strategies here tonight in the finale. And as I was saying, everybody wants to win the season finale and hold that win until we roll into Daytona again come February.
Well, we get ready for a big moment. Of course, one chapter coming to an end tonight here on the Captain eSports Network, but one chapter that is always going to continue is going to be the chapter of the Sim500 Hall of Fame. And tonight we get the honor of announcing the 2025 class for Sim500. It is something that is an honor on our end to be able to do. And we're looking forward to doing that here momentarily here on the Captain eSports Network. So let's, we're going to grab two of the drivers. I noticed the third one is not here, which is unfortunate, but we'll still let him know. But one of the drivers that is going to be announced into the Hall of Fame, we'll announce the one who is not here this evening, will be the driver of the, as I try to remember his number, 99. That's it. The 99. I was going to say 6 for some reason, but the number 99, of course, Northern Tool car, and that being Tommy Ryan, who's going to be the first elected person into the 2025 Hall of Fame. So congratulations to Tommy Ryan. Of course, Tommy has won many races, actually picked up a win just a couple weeks ago here in the Cup side of things, and he's been running kind of part-time this season, but Tommy, a well-deserved driver of this award, basically. And as I look over here at his career stats for Tommy in the Cup car alone, Tommy has 191 starts with 6 wins, 55 top 5s, and 99 top 10s. He has finished in the top 10 of over 52% of his starts here in Sim500. So congratulations to Tommy Ryan, who will be one of the nominees for the 2025 Hall of Fame as we go to qualifying. And during the warm-up here, we'll announce the other two drivers. We don't want to interrupt qualifying. We'll let these guys get out here and run their 2 laps respectively, because they're both going to be pretty fast here, I think, tonight. So it's the 811 Pull Award presented by 811. Know what's below and call before you dig. Kevin, this looks like a track where tonight it's going to be a bottom feeder, and one that you're going to have to take on or try to keep up with your tires, because the rears are going to take a beating.
Yeah, drivers talked about punishing both the right rear and the left rear, depending on where you are in the progressive banking. We're going to see bottom feeders, I think. There'll be an EJ O'Rourke style high side here and there, but for the most part, I think these drivers will be on the bottom here tonight as we see Mark Jorgensen Jr. taken to the racetrack. We'll see whether or not the first lap or the second lap is fastest here in qualifying as he heads down to take the green flag.
My guess is with the tire buildup, it's going to be the second lap you're going to look for here out of these cars to be the fastest, but as I've been humbly wrong before, we shall see. Pedro Mojica crossing the line right now is Justin Fuller looking purple right now. As there's Bobby Wetzel on track in the 9 car as he gets up there to the top part of the track. There's a little bit of that lighter shade down there on the bottom left, well, now bottom right, in the middle of the corners, and that seems to be the way to get around here as Fuller goes to the pole with a 34.10, and pole laps nowhere near what we seen for the track record here at Homestead-Miami Speedway in a next-gen car. As a matter of fact, as I looked at that earlier, it was a 33.279 from Tommy Ryan, and that was in November of last year. So we're almost 0.2 off the pace right now as Mark Jorgensen 34.005. So we're now within 0.8 of a second, and looks like it's going to take a 33 to get the pole.
And a 33.892 goes on the board for David Comstock, who put in the second fastest lap. He just got bumped by Wesley Donaldson with a 33.764. And speaking of Tommy Ryan, man, one of the most consistent and cleanest drivers in the league. Congratulations to him
Yeah.
on his Hall of Fame nod.
And that was just his cup stats I went over, obviously just a minute ago, and I'll get you the rest of his numbers here momentarily. As we ride with Tyler Dalton, he's usually a pretty fast one here at Homestead as he crosses the start-finish line and is starting his first lap, and he's going right up there to the top. It's almost like a throwaway lap for these guys at this point.
Yeah, I really do expect that they're, working the first lap as a throwaway with the expectation that, and more pressure, you have to be flawless in that second lap.
Yeah, because I mean, you're putting the pressure on at 116-degree track temperature. That could be the difference in you starting first or starting down in 20th. As we look at the 21 EGR work out there on track, Justin Mons crosses the line in the 11th position. Pedro Mojica, 33.66, the pole sitter right now. Chad Coleman looks like just went for a spin, and unfortunately had to abort his lap. Bentley Glazier up to the 3rd position. As we see Kevin King on track, of course, he's going to be the one to watch here tonight as he looks to lock up this championship. He's almost got that, should we call it like an ice-looking paint scheme? Because I look at that paint scheme and I think of like a glacier type of color.
Steel blue, yeah.
Like kind of a cool-looking color, as a matter of fact. Is King is 7th fastest right now, 33.919. Karlovaj goes to 5th. Kevin in the purple right now as he works his way into turn 3 and 4. Looks like Jose Gonzalez had to stop at one point. Looks like Bentley Glazier's had to stop at one point as others complete their lap. King comes off turn 4 in the purple. Across the start-finish line right there. And boom, 33.62 to the pole he goes.
33.626 is his time, a 33.665 for our second place, Pedro Mojica, and he's done something that's been difficult to do this year, which is bump Mark Jorgensen Jr. to 3rd.
He's like, Mark, you take 3rd today,
has
buddy.
Started outside of Kevin King in so many different races, but tonight he's going to be sitting right behind the guy he's been chasing all season.
So King, it looks like, let's see what Chad Coleman does. He's actually on track right now for a 2nd lap. As Coleman, of course, had those issues a minute ago. Chad right now is 9th fastest with a 33.93. Brings her off turn 4. Drifts it out wide towards the wall, and across the start-finish line he goes. And let's see if it goes up. It does. 8th position, so he will bump Fuller down to the 9th position. So congratulations, Kevin King, winning the pole award tonight for the 811 finale here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, and as presented by 811, a big thank you to those guys for years of sponsorship here on the Sim500 series, of course, from the Xfinity series for a couple of seasons now, and in the last 2 here on the Cup side, and everyone there in North Carolina and in that region. We thank you very much for what you have done. Of course, tonight being the last sponsorship for 811 here tonight in this Cup Series season. All right, so now with warm-up going on, let's go get the 2 drivers that are going to be the other 3 that will join Tommy Ryan in the Sim500 Hall of Fame for 2025. And, well, they were, ironically, in one channel. And we're going to bring Fuller up here, and we're going to bring his other driver. And you would think that I'm going to bring up you guys to talk about the championship tonight, wouldn't you?
I can't hear you because we got a driver's meeting going on.
Oh, driver's meeting going on. So we'll just talk to Justin here in a minute. So as he's got the meeting going on, so let me move them to the waiting room just so for a minute here. As Joey's having a little word with them really quickly. And, so we'll announce the final 2 drivers here. Justin Fuller and Tyler Dalton going to be the other 2 drivers that will join the driver of the 99, Tommy Ryan, into the Hall of Fame for Sim500 in the class of 2025. Tommy Ryan overall stats here: 934 starts, 104 poles, He's one of the others with over 100 poles in the series. 41 career wins overall, 309 top fives, 531 top tens, which, by the way, is still 57% of career races he has done in the series, which is a pretty impressive number. As for Tyler Dalton's 729 starts, it is well noted, 244 poles. He has won a pole in a third of his starts. That is a pretty phenomenal number right there when you look at that. Let's see. He has 50 career wins overall in Sim500 with 220 top fives, and I want to make sure I see the right numbers here, 396 top tens. As for Fuller, he's right there behind Dalton, 702 starts, 81 career poles for him. He has 99 career wins. His next win will be number 100 in the series, 273 top fives and 362 top tens. I'm pretty sure Joey's usually quick with this, so let's, I'm sure he's about done talking to these guys. So let's see, Justin, Tyler, you guys got a copy?
Gotcha.
All right, so the reason why I'm going to bring you guys up here is Kevin and I wanted to do the honor to announce that the two of you will join Tommy Ryan in the 2025 Hall of Fame class for Sim500.
Yeah, Joey just sort of stole your thunder, but
Oh, well, thanks, Joey.
I was awfully shocked, to be honest. Don't have some of the same wins that a lot of the other guys in the league do, but definitely appreciate the honor, and I'm honored to have that from my peers.
Not sure if Justin, you got a copy here, bud?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you now.
yeah, no.
You know, Joey just got done talking, so.
Yeah, no, I guess congratulations on the Hall of Fame nomination. I guess he announced it at the same time we were going to announce it.
Yeah, thanks. You know, a couple years later than I probably would have liked, but that's all right. It's more of a popularity vote than anything, but that's okay. It's nice to see Tommy and Tyler got in too, because I voted for both of them to make it. So, I never vote for myself, though. That's kind of the thing. So I don't know how many people voted for me, but I appreciate the votes, and yeah, it was kind of a cool little deal, I guess.
Awesome deal there. I know you guys got ready to race, but I'm going to leave you with two with the stat that I just read over the air. Each of you guys have an interesting stat to you. Fuller, if you win tonight, it'd be your 100th career Sim500 win. Just want to throw that out there at you. And Tyler, you have 33% polls of your starts.
Yeah, well, I went for it tonight and about died, which is why I'm starting mid pack. So I got this new wheel, so trying to figure things out. It's a little bit more difficult. I'm getting more information, trying to unlearn all this muscle memory.
There you go. And Justin, your thoughts, man. Win 100 could be tonight.
Yeah, it's not going to be tonight.
No, well, all right.
No.
Very
Never say never,
right.
Justin.
But
I'm saying never. There's going to have to be a lot of things that go wrong for me to win tonight. So, we're just going to take what we can get, and we've kind of already conceded that we're going to get second on the points, and that's kind of okay. And yeah.
Well, either way, congrats on the Hall of Fame nominations. Well deserved, and we'll let you go to your channels.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
As Justin Fuller, Tyler Dalton, congratulations to those guys joining Tommy Ryan on winning the pole award, and we need to go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
as the cars roll out on track. It is the finale here at Homestead-Miami Speedway as we take a look at the starting lineup here. Kevin King on the pole with Pedro Mojica. As you look through your top 12 starters, this is a 1.5 mile track, as most of you probably know by now. 18 to 20 degrees of banking through the corners. They'll go 150 laps tonight. One of the longer mile and a half tracks or races tonight, which is 225 miles. See Justin Mons there in the 17th position. Justin going to do something here in about 30 seconds that nobody did this season. What would that be? That would be start every single race in Sim500 in the Cup Series this season. As Kevin King, who leads the point standings and could lock it up here tonight with a win, kicks it off with the green flag one final time from Homestead. As we work our way to turn one, our cameras presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com.
Two Titans of Sim500 race wheel to wheel down the back straightaway. Kevin King seeking the championship this year. He's got last year's champion in his tire tracks as Mike Jorgensen settles in for third coming out of turn 4 for the first time here. Kevin King is going to lead it back to lead lap number 1.
One
as
car
the
on the
field.
inside. Yo, reckon somebody in the back here is in the outside wall. Chad Coleman, no caution. We stay green.
No caution yet, and Coleman's going to drive away.
Saw cars scattering everywhere there on the back straight or on the front straightaway. Chad Coleman's getting the worst of this, and he is off the pace. That right front is broken.
Oh no, that right front toe link is destroyed, and we watched the starter there not draw the yellow flag, and he's going to have to tow to the pits. And we continue the action here as King leads Mojica. A couple drivers way up to the high side. What did we say, Chris? Who was going to be there?
Kevin Brown and others, and EJ O'Rourke.
Yeah.
That's EJ lane up there, as we call it.
That's EJ, yeah.
The EJ lane. Let's see if we can go back here real quickly. Oh, right there, Coleman. I don't know if he got loose or tagged. Slams into Mike Kelly.
They were all down there in the wave territory of that blue paint down there on the front straightaway trying to get access as there was a lockup. It looks like maybe Pedro? Or some contact there ahead of that?
Maybe. It looks like Coleman got loose, though. Let's get a look back here from the back straightaway. He's got Justin Fuller there to his inside. Almost some contact there as Fuller almost had to scoot Chad out of the way. You can see the back end. He gets on that seam, and then Comstock is finishing him off, yeah. And here's on board with Friary, both of them in the wall with Rivera. So 3 cars involved, but we stay green. As Bentley
good
Glazier.
heads up racing there for Bentley, as he could have easily plowed into the back of somebody. Everybody kind of saw the smoke, went down, and that's one of the advantages of the racetrack, Chris, is it's wide and there's a lot of grip there on the flat, so drivers able to just steer out of it. And now we see we're starting to get into that rhythm where if you can get past the first 5, 6, 7 laps, then you would expect that this is going to be a long run segment, and everybody's going to have to make sure they take care of their tires early here.
Bentley Glazier up there in the front end Mountain Dew car with a pretty good start. And you see others out here kind of scattering around. So you're going to see up top Kevin King and Justin Fuller, the only 2 numbers that are left in green. And that's because mathematically those are the only 2 drivers that can win the championship. With the way the points are all shaped up now, as King runs there in the 2nd position, Fuller in 7th. And basically, with the number of drivers we have tonight, you're looking at basically roughly 20th or worse for Kevin King to potentially lose his championship. So he's about already got it locked up technically when it's all said and done. We're going to call the race here. We'll show you the points here momentarily. But either way, appreciate everybody being here tonight and enjoying the broadcast. Hello, Kip Cook. Hello, Atomic Burrito. Welcome back to you, sir. And this week's, of course, hanging out, watching the chat as Glazier kind of stretching out here. He got some Mountain Dew in that system here tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, he's got a little pep in his step. And, you know, for Kevin King, though, we just saw what happened to one of the veterans of the sport on lap number 1. Anything can possibly happen. And Kevin's mission here tonight is just get to the finish line, keep the fenders straight on that car, play your strategy right. You don't have to go for the win. just get yourself a top 20. You know, he looked at we're just seeing Mike Kelly applying quite a bit of pressure there to David Comstock in the 2. The orange car looks down low, trying to go underneath the energy car there, trying to see if he can get the
Energy on
draft.
energy
And,
here.
yeah,
Speed
the
versus
2-speed.
awesome.
But just coming back to King, he knows what he's got to do tonight, and the veteran should not make any mistakes. But we saw what happened to Justin Fuller last week, his unfortunate disconnect and other things. So let's wait till we get to the end of this thing before we hand King the trophy.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I'm going, the only part of me that disagrees with what you just said, Kevin, and it was part of the reason I went, is that number 20. And I'm not talking about the 20th or better. If he wins tonight, it's his 20th win.
Yeah.
I mean, that would push me a little bit to be like, I want that win a little bit. But I think he's disappointed. Like, he knows what not to do in that situation, I would think, in that spot. So we shall see. But that's why they run the race. So tonight, by the way, the 9th time they've run this Homestead-Miami Speedway here on the Cup side of things. And Kevin King actually did win this race in April. Josh Parker winning back in November of this race. But we have only had one repeat winner, and that was Adam Gilliland in March of 20 and February of 21.
When you watch enough of these races, Chris, you tend to pick up the patterns, right, of what driver strategy is. If something works, you're going to use it. And we know that Kevin King last time and other times during fuel mileage / tire races, he's not eager to impress anybody and run off like a jackrabbit. If he can get out to clean air, he'll do it. But he also knows that fuel mileage wise, he could follow in line, save a little bit of fuel, not run hard, stay the pace with everybody else, and conserve some tires. And then later in the run, if he's done his job correctly, he could turn up the wick and drive out. And we've seen him do that in the past. And I'm not concerned with him running in third or where he is right at this time. But from that standpoint, it's a little unusual to see him not leading at this juncture. But no surprise as we see David Comstock go to the high side trying to execute that pass. Joey Jattina a little loose out of 2. He gathers it up. That's going to allow Mike Kelly to draw alongside. Kelly on the high side in the Speed Energy orange car. There's EJ up there in the high side.
He's ripping the boards, as he likes to do, as he slowly works his way up. He's one of the big movers here so far. Tyler Dalton up 9 spots from 13th to 4th. We talked about how he kind of had some issues there in qualifying, and then you look back here, Justin Mons from 17th to 11th in this race. Montesi gone from last to 17th. Kevin Brown from 21st to 16th. So we got some movers, and of course we got the guys that have fallen back. Chad Coleman, unfortunately, is only going to complete 2 laps here tonight, making his 170th start on a speedway style track. Unfortunately, only makes it all of 3 miles.
That has got to be probably just, how do you end a season that way? That has got to be so frustrating for Chad. I know he's one of the drivers who has put in more starts, more laps than pretty much anybody here, and come to a season finale and have it go that way. Yeah, you just don't wish that on anybody.
No, you never do. It's just an unfortunate break there, but you know, that's as painful. How many times we've gone out to run like an NIS race, and you run for a whole hour or 2, or maybe practice for a couple days, and you go out there and you wreck out lap 1, and the only time you'll be able to run all week. It's definitely one where you want to go through something, but unfortunately, the good news is there's always going to be another day. But Chad actually one of 3 drivers. I think he made the race. Here, let me see. Did Stenzel make it in here tonight? Stenzel did not. If I remember correctly, he's not here tonight. So Jose Gonzalez and Chad, the only 2 drivers now officially have made all 9 starts here at Homestead.
Yeah, a lot of drivers like this racetrack, and I don't know, to me it's a bit of a mystery. It never can seem to be consistent and find speed, but one of the things you have to like about this racetrack is you don't have to worry too much, at least my estimation, of making the entry to the corner. You drive in as hard as you want, and whatever you do, if you miss it, you let the car wash up the banking. If you hit it right, you roll right down along the bottom. Sometimes when you come off the bottom of turn 4 and stomp on the gas, the car might break out. Usually drivers look to point toward the sign on the outside, and then as soon as it gets to the outside fence, it turns, and you kind of square up to it as side by side there with the 19 moving around the 88.
Yeah, Tyler keeps moving.
Tyler's on the move, man. He's going quick here in the early going, and
Tyler up to the 3rd position. Mark Jorgensen has moved up to the 4th position. As you're seeing those comers and goers. You're not really seeing too many people drift up the track. And then there's EJ, who will always find ways to do things different, which nothing wrong with that. He's out here having a good old time as he's 3/4 of the way up the track, right above that second seam, which is the 20 degrees of banking on the track. Of course, 18 to 20, it is a progressive style racetrack. It was one of the first ones actually to go progressive back in the heyday. And this track was redone in 2003. And this is that same pavement we've seen the whole entire time. Track.
yeah, he is running that high side right above the seam. He needs to be careful not to catch that seam, and now he's going to run down through the middle and cross the seam, as I just said not to do that. But we think, Chris, you might see, as we see Priory, the 3rd, doing the same thing. Some drivers move up there later in the run. We've heard drivers talk about balancing tire wear by running down low and running up high and changing the weight distribution to the car as it runs up high, changes what pressure it has on the tires. And we're starting to see some drivers seek grip and change lines.
Yeah, I think the tires really start to wear. The 2 tires that everybody was worried about wearing were the right rear and the left rear, and that being because of how much throttle you apply to these cars mid-corner. It's not really worrying about the front side of the tires. So when you have a car that's wearing out the tires, where do you want to go to keep it from spinning out? Well, you want to make the corner as straight as possible. That's where you drift up the track and let it kind of soar down off the banking, which Homestead kind of allows that. The way that the track turns basically is very interesting. It's not like that. You know, it kind of has that Atlanta look of the old school days, the way it kind of turns, how it's kind of a sweeping corner instead of like Charlotte, where it's like a kind of a, I don't know, it's EJ just got the wall, but basically Charlotte's almost like a sharper corner where Homestead just kind of sweeps around, if you will. As David Comstock's off the pace, not sure what's going on with the 13 here, but he's falling back.
Sometimes these drivers get the car a little sideways and then they heat the tires up and they lose grip for a couple laps. We're not sure if Comstock had one of those incidents, as we see Mark Jorgensen Jr. kind of sliding back. The 51 of Justin Fuller goes underneath after Jorgensen got passed by Kevin King, and now Fuller tucked in behind Kevin King, following him through as they've gotten to the back bumper of the 19. Tyler Dalton, who looked good early, is now seeing a lot of pressure. And don't forget Jose Gonzalez. No. Pedro Mojica, just kind of sitting up there running by himself. Pedro's one of those guys, man. He's got consistency and speed at this racetrack, and I think he's definitely going to be a factor in this. Got to give a call, too, to the Mike Montesi, number 4. Started 23rd. He's up 10 positions. It's sitting right there just outside the top 10. He's got a fast mount tonight in that trend service number 4.
Yeah, he's chasing down Joey Coutinho right now in that 14 car, so Montesi looking pretty good right now. But the guy that's impressed me the most is Tyler Dalton loses 2 positions. It's Kevin King and Justin Fuller both go by. For 3rd and 4th is Bentley. I mean, this guy's out to a 5.9 second lead, 23 laps in, and he's still running lap times right there with the guys behind him. It's not like he's driven away and then all of a sudden the fishing pole is out and these guys are reeling him back in. He's kind of matching, and it's like he's able to stay out here. So it's like Bentley must have found something here in his car, in his track, that he's enjoying. The one thing I'm noticing right off the bat as we ride on board with him, that gear number. 5th gear going into the corner, 4th gear going into turn 1. So he's doing some shifting. You kind of heard Tyler talk about that a little bit ago. So obviously he's got a good feel here. Last time by, he ran a 56 to a 47 to a 40. So he's right there within a 10th of everybody. So it's not like they're just quickly just reeling them in. Sometimes you've seen, like, I'll use EJ for an example. He'll pull away to like a 5-second lead, and then 3 laps later, he's getting passed for the lead because he just blew his tires up.
Yeah, when you look at Bentley Glazier and downshifting, one of the things that happens with that is it's a Goldilocks principle.
Mhm.
You could do it too early, you could do it too late, or you could do it just right. And what they're doing, it's almost like a truck on the road using the brake, engine brake, to slow the car down. When you downshift, it both slows the car down, somehow makes a turn, and it also gives you RPM to drive up out of the corner. You use a little more fuel sometimes in that manner, but lap speed, as the car does not want to turn, having the RPM to drive it up off the corner gets you around the racetrack. And some drivers just hit that absolute perfect combination of drive the car down in, apply a little brake, downshift, and then pick up the throttle and drive off. And Bentley Glazier is putting on a clinic here tonight with the big lead that he has.
Awesome 3 wide is now off of turn 2 with Tyler Dalton, Wesley Donaldson, and EJ O'Rourke. As EJ continues to try to climb up there in that top side, he makes the pass on Tyler and Wesley. Tyler's tires must be gone, or he's trying to save up a little bit here. And here's where it gets interesting, because we have not mentioned the pit strategy tonight, Kev. It's 150 laps. Every race this season has been somewhere from 180 to 200 miles on the Sim500 side. This is a 225-mile race, so it's a little longer. So you almost have to try to get to lap 50 to make this a standard 2-stop race.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see green flag conditions all night here tonight. I wouldn't be surprised to see green flag pit stops. And when we get to that point, Chris, we're going to have to talk about getting to pit road here. It's not difficult, but it's easy to mess up. And if you mess it up, you pay a massive penalty at trying to get the car either onto pit road and you speed and you get a penalty for time, or you have to compensate by driving all the way around. And this is a long pit road, pit exit. The time you spend on pit road matters. So strategy, these drivers have worked this backwards. There's a lot of work to trying to figure out how and when you're going to pit.
As we watch battle here going on as Jorgensen tries to hold off EJ O'Rourke right there for position. These guys all sitting about 8 seconds back or so from the lead as Glazier still leads. Kevin King has moved to second now as he passed Pedro Mojica just a lap or two ago. He's got 0.4 of a second up on Mojica, and Justin Fuller there in the 4th position as we are 5th of the way into this race. 30 laps complete. And let's go ahead and step away and hear a word from 811 as we come back and get you more racing here from the Homestead-Miami Speedway as you're watching Sim500 on the Captain Esports Network.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, back we are here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, virtually on iRacing. It's race number 36, the final one for the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series season as we get ready to potentially crown a champion here tonight. And we are watching one guy who is crowning the top of the track and making it work, and that is EJ O'Rourke, as he has now passed Mark Jorgensen for the 4th position. And one thing that you just kind of made a comment during the break there, Kev, is EJ sometimes will fall off at this point on the long run, but he is making his car work up there.
Yeah, it feels like what he did in the beginning has saved the car a little bit. You're not putting as much stress on the car as you're turning down into the corner. And his car is demonstrating long run speed as he's come to 5th. And we look up front, Bentley Glazier still has about 6 seconds and change over Justin Fuller and Pedro Mojica, but the other driver, and we thought we were going to see this, that just decided it was time, is Kevin King. Kevin is coming now. He's carved a 1.5 seconds out of that lead. But Chris, you and I were talking during that little break. How about the speed for Bentley Glazer, man? This guy has got it going on here tonight.
Yeah, he's got a 4.5-second lead right now. Of course, Kevin King is starting to pick it up, and now I think you're starting to see that crossover point. His last time by, Bentley ran a 35.05. Everybody else was about 2 or 3 tenths quicker, so I think now that threshold has been hit from the 25 car. So we'll start to see, I think, potentially Kevin and Fuller and Mojica, the top 4, start to come back together here potentially. But I was just kind of stunned to see how far and how long they were able to go in that run. As we see Wesley Donaldson and Mark Jorgensen back here, Tyler Dalton, who's now starting to kind of maintain here in the 9th position after he's rolled his way up to the front. This is the part of the race where you got to kind of preserve what you have here, get to that first pit stop. If it's one that you come in at lap 50 right away and make that 2-stop race, or if you go all the way as far as you can go, which I believe is about 60 to 65 laps on a tank of fuel. But I would say you're likely going to see the whole entire field on pit road probably at lap 50, if not right around there, because these guys are probably screaming for tires right now.
Yeah, I have to believe that these drivers know exactly where they're racing to, and then they're going to duck off the pit road. And that brings into another factor, Chris. How good are the drivers getting to pit road, getting to the pit box, not making a mistake sliding through? I have to assume they're going to take 4 tires with fuel, and then getting off. The in, the on, and the out make a huge difference in track position, and we're going to see if Bentley, if Kevin King, if Pedro, if Justin Fuller, and others are going to have a good night tonight on pit road.
As you saw, Mojica got past Fuller, so move Pedro back to the 3rd position right now. As we watch Wesley back here underneath Jorgensen as EJ O'Rourke playing tag with the wall a little bit more. As we complete lap 37 here. And you kind of heard me mention as he about wrecks it over here off turn 2. Shout out to Justin Mons, as he the only driver that will complete all 36 races now. I say complete, I say complete. He hasn't necessarily finished every race this season, but the fact that he's been able to make all the races, he's right up there with Chad Coleman. Coleman made 35 of 36, I believe. So congratulations to him. That's a hard thing to do when you only have 30. When you have a 36 race schedule. Not to mention you got the duels and things like that. Kev, you're looking at running about 38 out of 52 weeks. You do the math, that means in 14 weeks you didn't race. That's a pretty lively schedule right there.
Good battle between the blue and black cars, black and blue there. It's Wesley Donaldson trying to track down the high side Rambler tonight, Mr. EJ O'Rourke. EJ's having a good run there, and, you know, looking out his back window there is Mark Jorgensen Jr., who always has a good long run car. I have to wonder if Mark was holding something in the tank there. It's up front. That lead is shrinking. Kevin King is down to 2.7 seconds back, and I'll tell you, Pedro Mojica.
EJ got loose.
Yeah. We've been seeing, we saw Justin Fuller wag the tail in that one shot I was oohing on, and I don't know, if you have a black or blue car, does that mean the car is going to do-si-do here tonight for you?
Well, EJ's now the 2nd car I've seen get on that seam at the wrong time, coming through 3 and 4, and the car just get loose. Joey Coutinho makes a pit stop here. Looks like scheduled 15.2 on his time, so he leaves pit road here at lap 40. And that could be telling. That could be a 3-stop race for Joey. So that's an interesting call here. We'll see how that goes. And why not? Joey, nothing to lose here tonight. And going to leave it all out there, as he always does on the track here tonight. This battle here is just continuing on. And then right behind him, you see Anthony Calantoni trying to pass Kevin Brown.
We should talk about the dynamic of trying to make the pass. You're really just going to run in the tire tracks of the car in front of you. You're going to pull a little draft here about halfway down the straightaway, and then you have to figure out what to do with it. If you charge the corner too hard, don't make the pass, you'll heat your tires up. As we see Josh Parker in that shot. We've not talked about Josh. He's up quite a few positions from his starting position, 11 at this point. He and EJ O'Rourke right together there with Kevin DeBrown, and Josh Parker could be a factor in this thing. But I guess, Chris, you know, these drivers now have to figure it out. We saw Joey Jacina go only 10 drivers finished on the lead lap the last time we were here, and that had to do a lot with who pitted and when and why.
Right.
And we'll just have to see if this gets close to the 50 lap mark. If you're right, if these drivers are going to try and get that mark and dump in, you have the number 12 strategy, shall we call it? Just put the number to it. You know, typically we see some drivers like Scott Sibley, who I don't know if he's here tonight, run long. Mike Kelly is another one that would do that. So we'll just have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little different here tonight. We're going to see here shortly. But that race in April, you mentioned, had one caution and had the 9 cars finish on the lead lap. As you mentioned, it was only a 134 lap race. And the one thing you mentioned earlier is this race does have that tendency, this track, of having long green flag runs. The most cautions in the 9 races here at this track in the history, and that's going all the way back to 17, is 4. And that was in November of 2022, so 2 years ago. This race saw 4 cautions, and that's it. So, and right now we're, knock on wood, caution free in this race. And needless to say, I think I want to kind of go peek at this if I get the opportunity to, but I want to say on the Xfinity side of Sim500, these guys have gone caution free like 3 or 4 straight races here. So these guys, if there's a track they seem to know very well or know how to handle, it is this one, as Bentley Glazer still has that 1.72 second lead over Kevin King. Mojica's starting to kind of chirp in a little bit here. Fuller's coming in a little bit, so Bentley kind of ran out a little bit, and now he's kind of nursing it. And we're 4 laps next time, 4 laps away from that lap 50 mark. So this is going to get very interesting here to see when these cars come to pit road.
Yeah, but if you can hold this advantage, or at least be in the top 2 with that 50 lap mark coming and hit pit road, then it's mission accomplished.
Right.
I mean, to be out in front of Kevin, and you know, if Kevin pits early and then a caution comes out and he finds himself a lap down, as somebody's down there on the apron, blue and black car. You know, I'm sure Kevin's playing that role too. Is that Justin Fuller?
I was looking at one Fuller. He's up ahead there. Nice little DJ's on the track. So maybe Mons? Not sure. I didn't catch it.
Yeah, just saw somebody down there, and Justin Fuller's car's been loose up off the corner as he tends to have a heavy right foot on exit of the corner, and the car will step out. We've seen that over and over again, especially on the long run. There's a slide of a blue and black car.
Mons that went down there a little bit, I think is who you
Yeah.
saw. Yeah. Okay. No, good call. As Karlovac is starting to fall off here a little bit. Dalton's going to go by. Here comes Jorgensen. So, I mean,
Kevin DeBrown joins in. These guys have been in that fighter pilot pattern with the 4 of them swapping positions. Blue Angel style is the best of the best right now is Tyler Dalton. He was fading back to them, and then he drove back out around and is leading Jorgensen down the back straightaway as they try to chase down Justin Fuller.
That's, of course, 2 of the newly crowned Hall of Famers for 2025. Sim500 Hall of Famers for those who missed it today. Justin Fuller, Tyler Dalton, and Tommy Ryan going to be the 2025 class. So they are going to join a list of drivers from Mike Kelly to EJ O'Rourke and others that'll be a part of the Sim500 Hall of Fame class of 2025. So congratulations to those. So hold on there. Josh Barker getting a little do-si-do, running that RFK 2026 paint scheme, I think, there in that Castrol 81 car. Good save on his part. As, Mike Kelly and Comstock have some contact back here. And,
Wow.
These two, I think, had some issues earlier in the season, too, if I remember correctly. So, saw some smoke and look like Comstock had it sideways.
Had issues. He's had a complicated season. You know, last year he was top 5 in so many different races as Anthony Calantoni peels off and goes to pit road. But Comstock's year has not measured up the same way as last year, and he wants to have a good run. And every once in a while, we've seen him have his run-ins with other drivers this year. And Yep, that was interesting.
Oh,
Look
EJ.
at this. They just about ran each other over here trying to get to pit road.
EJ about pulled a Kurt Busch there without the tire falling off. 2005 throwback there is Calantoni pulls away from pit road. EJ's on pit road. Josh Parker, and here comes Mike Kelly at lap 50. So this is that 1/3 mark we just talked about. There'll be 4 tires and fuel for those guys. As you see the leaders come flashing past the line, Pedro Mojica is going to come to pit road. So here's the first of the leaders at lap 51.
I like this call for Pedro. If he can get in and get fresh tires and get an advantage, he might be able to erase that little margin that they had built up on him. And, you know, say what you want, Bentley Glazer, he got out to a 1.4 second lead. Kevin ran him down, and then Kevin stays static. He's not been able to run him down and pass him. There's 4 tires and fuel, clean windshield. And I'm sure that car is going to feel great.
Bentley's in. Here he comes to the pits as Kevin King was starting to catch him. Here comes the 25 to pit road. I mean, Bentley's done everything right here tonight. Of course, Bentley did pick up that win earlier this season. And he's been fast consistently here these last few weeks.
Montesi in.
And Robert Friery on pit road. Comstock is in. There's 4 tires and fuel, and Bentley going to pull away. Most of these guys going to fill up the tank for the most part. 15.3 there. As here comes King by to put him a lap down, and King's going to have 6.8 seconds now on Fuller as Tyler Dalton and Wesley Donaldson start to battle it out here.
You have to wonder if anybody was doing some fuel savings. We know that if you can run for a while and a caution comes out, you have several drivers 1 lap down, and Tyler Dalton may have been following in the tire tracks of a couple of these guys to run a couple more laps as we see Justin Mons drop into his box. It'll be 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for the number 41 Ancient Gaming car.
There was a driver last week. I'm trying to remember who it is off the top of my head that we were picking on. And I'm trying to remember if it's this series or another, but it seems like every time that person comes to pit road, a caution comes out as Rivera comes to pit road. But as I think about this more and more now, I think he's on the Wednesday side of things. So forget what I just said.
That entry for Rivera was textbook. You see the car come across the apron. He's carrying a lot of speed. He swings out just a little bit, but that's to get the car slowed down right to his box, drops right in on the line. The quicker you get to the actual line, if you don't go forward, if you don't go back, they come around and work the car quicker. And that's the difference on your pit stop is you want to hit the box absolutely perfectly. If you're too deep in the box, you actually, when you're in the car, watch the crew go down and around the car, and that takes a little bit of time, and every bit of a tenth is hundreds of feet on the racetrack.
So you see Wesley Donaldson on pit road now as Mojica just laid down the fastest lap of the race here as he's trying to get that track position right now. He is the leader of those who, or I'm sorry, he's actually second of those who just came off pit road as Bentley Glazer has been able to keep his car up there in the front right now as Tyler Dalton is on pit road here now. I mean, what do you do if you're in Kevin's spot here? I mean, do you just wait till Fuller pits and pit with him?
I think that's what Kevin is trying to do from an insurance standpoint, is just make sure that he doesn't get caught 1 lap down. When he sees the majority of the field pit, the top 7 cars right now have stayed out, as we saw Gerald Livingston pit, and now Tyler Dalton finishes his service and is down and away. I think Kevin, if he feels like he's not dropping from a speed standpoint too much, he is giving up over a second to everybody else, but yeah, hard to say how long he's going to stay out here.
As Kevin King, when does he come to pit road? When does Fuller come to pit road? As these guys can probably go another 5 to 10 laps or so on a tank of fuel. So either way, they will either run this tank all the way out or come to pit road here shortly. 7.2 seconds, but as Kevin mentioned, 7 cars have not pitted yet. And according to what I'm seeing there, Bentley Glazer first off of pit road right now out of those who have pitted. And there he is on the back straightaway. And there's Pedro Mojica and then Josh Parker, your top 3 out of those who have pitted. But obviously we got to see where everybody else cycles around. once they're done with these pit stops as we come up on lap 60 this time by. And just shy of the 100-mile mark.
He's going to make another run around the racetrack. Kevin King goes across the start-finish line and continues to follow Pedro Mojica. And that's an important note, as Pedro has slipped around your leader, come back to the back end of the lead lap, and on fresh tires, presumably, Chris, his lap times are going to be outstanding compared to what Kevin will do in this time period. Kevin's given quite a bit up. Now, on the back end of this run, maybe Kevin's going to get it back, but for right now, I thought he was going to try and go to pit road there. Didn't it look like he locked him up a smidge?
It looked like something there. It was kind of interesting, but he continues on. Not sure if that's...
Yeah, well, we're just going to have to wait and see how this plays from a track position standpoint once Kevin finishes. Certainly, Kevin and Justin will have faster lap times when they finally come to pit road, but all the track time that they're giving up right now, Chris, they're going to have to make up for that when they come back to the speedway with fresher tires.
Yeah, I would think if you haven't pitted by now, you're going to go ahead and run this tank all the way out. So that's what I'm expecting to see out of these guys right now. Never mind, Justin Fuller is going to come to pit road here at lap 61. He's going to bring Jorgensen in here with him. So here comes the guy, second in points right now. Looking for that win that would give him 100 in his Sim500 career, which would be a pretty phenomenal stat to have, but also to give himself any kind of chance to win this championship right now, he's going to need a little bit of help right now. As Jorgensen on pit road, also 4 tires and fuel for all these guys. As I look over, Kevin staying out another lap here as he completes lap 62. As Fuller bowls away at a 14.5. Jorgensen 15.2, so good stop there for the Fuller crew there at 51.
And you see him hustling the car here on the exit road. He's really bringing that car up to speed. He has to be careful that he doesn't get on the racetrack in an illegal manner, otherwise he'll pay the penalty, and it'll take a lap or two for these tires to come up to temperature, for some air to build in those tires, for him to achieve full grip, but then he should be able to set sail. And again, I think the one thing we have to keep in mind, Chris, is if this plays to the end, and we know that the caution strategy, there's not a lot of cautions at this racetrack. If Kevin can stretch this out, if others could stretch it out, they may pay the price here, but in the final pit stop, should it run the full distance, their fuel load would be significantly lower than everybody else as he finally comes to pit road.
So here comes Kevin King at lap 64 to pit road. And that will leave us with 4 cars left to pit. Kevin DeBrown, Jose Gonzalez, there's no surprise. Bobby Wetzel and Jason Karlovac. Of course, Gonzalez won a race earlier this season in Las Vegas, if I remember correctly, after not pitting for a little bit and actually making a one-stop race. But tonight, definitely not going to be one of those. You still have to go another 10 laps if you want to make this a one-stop race. And unless you've got some kind of fuel tank that we don't know about, it ain't happening. But 4 tires and fuel for Kevin King as he will pull away in a 14.9 for the 29 cars. He will pull away, and let's see where these cars come out. Glazier's already gone by. Mojica's already gone by. As here comes Parker by, O'Rourke and others with the fresher tires. But now the tide will turn a little bit because Kevin will have the fresher tires than these other guys. Kevin DeBrown on pit road.
We'll just have to see where he slots in as Kevin DeBrown gives up the lead.
Jose Gonzalez inheriting the lead now in his 26 car. Jose was sporting that Miami Dolphins paint scheme here down in the Homestead-Miami area. Of course, he does have a win here in a Sim500 race, so his closest track to home, unfortunately, I guess, per se, is a little bit of waterway away.
All I ever think about is Dan Marino when I think about the Dolphins in the heyday.
What's wrong with that?
But right now, Glazier has a 4-second lead over Pedro Mojica, so he has repeated the speed that he had in that first segment by coming out here in segment 2 and gapping over Pedro Mojica. Although Pedro's still holding tight at 3 seconds or so, and we'll find out where Kevin King slots back in this. And Justin Fuller, you look at it, and Fuller is 3 seconds back from King after that exchange of pit stops.
Glazier leads as he just actually passed Jose Gonzalez for the lead. Going down the back straightaway here now, so Jose can probably come to pit road here any moment. As these guys obviously playing at different strategies. Anthony Calantoni appears to have had an issue and has towed it back to pit road, but did it off track, so no caution. What happened to the 84 here? As he's racing with Justin
Maybe contact
Munz.
with a faster car?
I wonder if the turn 2 bump got him. As they bump over here. Oh, no. He spins it out over here in turn 1. And unfortunately, wham, side first into the car. It probably broke the right rear toe link.
Yeah.
As he tows her back to pit road. But, for Calantoni, a tough ending to the season, but looking at the positive note here, he did get that win, his first win in the Cup Series at Las Vegas back in the 3rd week of the season.
Well, right now, the only 2 cars that have been pitted are Jose Gonzalez and Jason Karlovaj. Bobby Wetzel was in that group, but he's on pit road right now. So how about it? Do you think these guys would make it to 60 plus laps this way?
I could see 60 plus, but 70 plus, this is kind of a shocker right here to get 70 laps out of this fuel tank. I'm sure the numbers or the tires are probably screaming at him right now, but if Jose can find a way to make it 75 laps on a tank of fuel at Homestead, I mean, this is, I can only imagine the number you have to run here to make that happen, but I mean, this could be a pretty big deal for Jose as he lets Gerald Livingston go on by, but he and Karlovaj are the ones trying this strategy. I mean, make me think twice, why don't you?
See Wetzel exiting pit road after his service. You could be clutching the car, running in 5th the whole way, doing different things to save fuel, which would explain how these guys can go this far. Running in the draft, there's other ways that you could save fuel. Is there? I think he went to go to pit road, and did it not look that way?
It did
It
look
almost
like he
looked
was
like he
going
wanted to point the car, and then at the last moment pulled it back up to the racetrack.
As King goes by him there, so yeah, 3 more laps, and they're at halfway of this race. Karlovaj loses another spot, and yeah, he's really falling off the pace now a little bit here. He's let some other cars go by.
So much slower than everybody else, there's really no sense in racing them. And for him, one of the best things he could do is keep it on the bottom, run the shortest distance around this racetrack. And yeah, I think that's just his line down there. The car gets a little bit of a wiggle. It almost looks like he wants to turn it in, but he's just kind of rolling the bottom, coasting, I'm guessing. And yeah, it sure looks like he's going to try and make it a 2. Well, he's going to get thing there? No.
He's trying.
Well, this is interesting.
Very interesting to see what he's doing here.
Well, as this resets, it's Glazier out front with the 3-second lead over Pedro Mojica. Then behind them, if we take out Gonzalez, Kevin King is 14 seconds back with Josh Parker 2 behind him. And then another second back to Wesley Donaldson. So the strategy of that first pit stop, the first run, and Chris, you know how this works. You run your first run, you go to pit road, and then whatever sins you paid for in that first run that you didn't do something right, you vow to do it better in run number 2. And so we'll have to see who made the right adjustment and is going to figure this out. And you know, one thing we've not talked about is brake bias and drivers using that to get the car to turn in at this racetrack, and how much brake you actually use on entry and whether you're using any brake. There's so many different ways to drive this racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the brake going into the corner here, and depending on how far you back it up, as here comes Jose to pit road at lap 75. I got nothing on that one. Lap 75, he made it all the way on a tank of fuel. Well done on his end. But yeah, brake bias plays a role here. Of course, this car is not one that you want to really let it roll. You want to kind of brake and then get right back to the gas, or vice versa, kind of like driving an open wheel car, which I've always found interesting to think about. But this car's got that special way to drive. But these two here have figured out something, because Gonzalez and Karlovaj come to pit road, and I'm interested to see how that strategy is going to play out here for these guys this evening. So we are 77 laps in, and we've got a whole lot of stuff going on here tonight in this Sim500 finale. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here on the Captain Esports Network as we step away and get another break in from 811 and come back and get you more racing on the Captain Esports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at Homestead-Miami Speedway as we come back to the battle for the fourth position here as Josh Parker is under attack with Wesley Donaldson, Tyler Dalton, Justin Fuller, EJ O'Rourke, all right here within about a second of each other. 5 cars under a blanket battling for third as Bentley Glazier just continues to slowly stretch that lead out to 3.5 seconds over Pedro Mojica. But Bentley has definitely got something in this car that is rolling pretty well here as we've gone caution-free in the first half of the race.
I'm going to give you a chassis that's low to the ground, and I'm going to shape you like a bullet.
Ooh, hold on, Wes.
That's what's in the Glazer number 25 tonight. That thing is fast.
Wesley Donaldson getting a little loose there as Fuller gets a run to the top side, and he's going to let that 51 go by. And I guess another way to look at it, too, when you look at that fuel strategy, Kevin, you talked about, saving fuel by rolling out the throttle and everything, shutting the motor off. The other thing is they're running the bottom lane, which is the shortest way around. So if there's any optimal way to save fuel, it's running the shortest way around and getting the most mileage out of it. So we'll have to see how much track position that net gains the 26 and also the 60 car when it's all over with here.
What I find interesting is you see these drivers come in and they fan out on entry as Josh Parker, he's in the right side fence there, but you would think that from a strategy standpoint they might leverage the draft, kind of like a restrictor plate track, and run the cars nose to tail, but nope, these guys are racing for position as hard as they can do it.
81 laps complete here. Bentley Glazier 3.7 second lead. We'll kind of roll through the field here a little bit as Bentley leads it. As mentioned, he's got that Mountain Dew car looking pretty quick here in the lead here. Pedro Mojica running second, 3.7 seconds back. He's got Kevin King, who is 7.2 seconds back from him. But you got to remember, Kevin pitted 13 laps later than Pedro Mojica, so he's got a little fresher tires, and you would expect for him to kind of reel in these two up front in this run. Justin Fuller runs in the 4th position right now. He is 5.5 behind Kevin and 16 seconds back from the overall lead. Wesley Donaldson in this 3-car battle right here for the 5th position. He is 17 seconds back. And of course, he's got Josh Parker right there behind him. Tyler Dalton right there behind him. All these guys right here in the battle. And then Mark Jorgensen in the 8th position right now. He's got EJ O'Rourke behind him. Of course, Mark pitted at lap 61 also. So this is where you're starting to see those guys that Kevin pitted later in the run. Those guys with the fresher tires rolling through here a little bit.
Yeah, certainly fresher tires are going to start to show up right now, but eventually they do even off, and I have to wonder from a lap time standpoint how much advantage they have. The last lap was a 34.849 for our leader, a 35.27 out back for Pedro chasing him down, a 34.342, so half a second faster for Kevin King, but he's 10 seconds back. And how much will he run off of those tires? We saw Chris in that first run, that he almost got to Bentley Glazier, but he got within a couple seconds and then stalled out. And we have to see whether or not this change of strategy for Kevin running long is going to give him the opportunity this time to go up and catch Bentley Glazier. But I'll tell you what, this is an interesting race watching strategy-wise. One driver that didn't fare too well in that exchange is Mark Jorgensen Jr. He's back there in 7th, and he's 17 seconds back from our leader. And that first run was not kind to him. We'll have to see if he learns something, as he always talks to us about the mental game and whether or not he can come forward and get himself a top 5 here tonight.
As we complete 86 laps this time by, as you kind of see where everybody is right now in the field. 18 cars in the lead lap. Gerald Livingston is going to be the next one to get lapped. It looks like, or actually has been lapped, I should say, by Bentley Glazier, as Josh Parker comes back to pit road here. I'm not sure if this is a scheduled pit stop or not, but Parker is in the 81 car.
Yeah, this is
He's going to the garage, literally.
Called it a season.
That's kind of funny right there. That's
yeah.
If only that actually worked in real life. I think wasn't there a game recently, like a console game, where they actually allowed you to drive in a garage? I think it was one of the newer NASCAR games, I think.
There's a handful of tracks, if you know where to sneak around, you can go in behind the fence and ride around
Martinsville,
in certain areas, but this is not one of them.
Martinsville, ask me how I know. Actually, what's cool about Phoenix is the new Phoenix, or newer one, is actually driving Victory Lane at that one. It's kind of cool. So, 88 laps complete here. Is I would expect to see those who pitted in the early section of the race here: Bentley Glazier, Wesley Donaldson, Tyler Dalton, E.J. O'Rourke, those guys here. I would expect those guys here in the next 12 laps. As with these other guys, I mean, you're looking at a range from somewhere maybe 120 all the way to the finish of this race, as Robert Fryery comes to pit road here at lap 86. So, and Robert's pulling over and calling it a day here. So I don't know if it's the Miami Heat or what the deal is. No pun intended there, by the way. Or is it the unfortunate some circumstances happening, cars driving evil or something going on. But these cars are pulling off the track, and you know what? As I look at this right now, that officially puts 19 cars left in this race.
Right.
So I believe it now becomes pretty much official that Kevin King will be the champion for the 2024 season. So if I'm his crew chief down there, I'm like, dude, go win this race.
Yeah, 20 wins on a season, that is just insurmountable for the rest of the competition to fathom. They would not have believed that when they pulled into Daytona in February, that one driver was going to win that much this season. But Kevin King has just put on a clinic pretty much. He's been consistent in every kind of racetrack. And there's a couple of them, Chris, we were here. He ran away with him, stunk up the show. And there's others where, let me tell you, he fought it off the fourth corner for the win. And Pedro Mujica to pit road. This is a big story here, as Pedro is going to drop out a third. This has got to be a play to try and win the race.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to try to shorten up. Is he trying to throw an extra stop in here potentially? That's the only thing I can think of, hitting a lap 90. You know what? I think he's going to run this race backwards. He might be trying to go to the finish from here, which would be 90, which would be 60 laps basically. So 4 tires and fuel for the 58 car. So here we go, a little off strategy. I like this. Of course, Pedro not here for a championship. He's been he took most of the season off running part-time after sweeping both the Cup and Xfinity championships in 2023. So after tonight, he'll pass the crown over to Kevin King in the 29 car. But yeah, Pedro on pit road here is 4 tires and fuel, and he pulls away here.
That just shows how much he's hustling the car on that road down there. Car is sideways and swapping around. Doesn't look that unstable from that view, but trust me, when you're in the car, you know that you're really running on the ragged edge to get back to the racetrack.
Well, and one other feature I want to throw into that deal there, Kevin, you got to remember this new update that just came out on iRacing last week. So now if somebody were to run into the grass a little bit down on that portion of the track, it actually throws dirt on it. and can slicken up that groove even more. So you got to be very careful and very protective when you run that warm-up lane, because it actually can get dirt on it now and become like ice.
Yeah. In that shot, we saw Justin Fuller up in the high side. Now down here in this corner, he's running one lane up. We heard drivers say that they really predicted it would be the low line, lane 2, and maybe lane 3, as we see Bentley down there on the bottom. But in the previous corner, turn 1 and 2, Fuller was up on the high side. And, you know, you go where the grip is and you go where the car feels like it wants to go. And we do see drivers taking advantage of the high side here. We don't see a lot of rubber on the racetrack here, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what that's all about, because that's one thing we have noticed in this latest bill is that the track rubber definitely is more distinct and more shows more basically out there in the track. And I mean, yeah, you got cars running from the bottom to the top, but you look right here in the top groove, I mean, you don't really see the marbles that you normally would see here. So very interesting to keep an eye on that. But right now, Bentley Glazier has a 5.4 second lead over Kevin King, Justin Foley there in third. And just to kind of, I want to do a little recap here of the season. Of course, it all started back in February when it was Mike Kelly going to victory lane in Daytona, and then Wesley Donaldson getting the Atlanta win. Remember, that was the battle between Parker and Kevin King. Comes to the line, Calantoni with the 2-tire stop, wins at Vegas. You had the Bristol race where he whose name slips my mind had a little bit of drama with Justin Fuller at the end. Brian Macklin got the win in this, but I mean, Kevin King did not get his first win until this race in April. So I mean, he went from pretty much the 6th race of the season to now, and got 19 wins, including that unbelievable streak all the way from May to the race at Michigan when Charles Van Schaik went to victory lane in what was an upset this season. You know, I mentioned Bentley Glazier winning that race in Phoenix. He's on pit road. You got Doy Woods go to victory lane. Chad Coleman broke a 2-year streak at Atlanta. You know, Tommy Ryan winning at Chicagoland just a few weeks ago. Of course, now into the Hall of Fame is Glazier 15-2 as he pits with 53 laps to go. So it's been a crazy season here in 2024. And the one thing I want to go and throw a sneak preview out there of 2025. Of course, that'll be on a new network next year. But a couple of things on here that I could not help but notice is the Circuit of the Americas race. The 4th week of the season, I'm sorry, 3rd week of the season. They're going to be running a road course here, Kev. At Circuit of the Americas.
I'm wondering if they'll run the short version of it or the one that's been run traditionally.
Yeah, other than that, the schedule looks pretty status quo like it's usually been. So I see one race that they're still kind of putting together here, but the race season will finish out in November, right around Thanksgiving, it looks like, at Homestead-Miami Speedway here again, so next season. So looking forward to what 2025 will build for the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series season. And again, big thanks to NC811 for all their hard work they've done as a partner of this series. Of course, we appreciate everything they have done. We appreciate everything that Joey Jatina has done with all of his hard work, all the viewers, as this has been a very long but fun season, as we got E.J. O'Rourke, Mike Kelly, and others on pit road now at lap 100.
Yeah, we anticipate that drivers are going to need fuel to the finish, so they will take, again, 4 tires and fuel, no opportunity for a 2-tire stop here. And heard from league administration that they're working on the title sponsorship for next year. It's pretty much locked in, so that's good news. Announcements will be coming with that. And looks like we're going to roll out of 24, take a little breather, and it's only how many days till we get to February?
Yeah, pretty much, right? That's one of the crazy parts here. Any rumors about bees being a sponsor?
Negative.
Oh, figured it. Just throwing it out there. You never know.
All things are possible.
So King leads right now as Comstock's on pit road. And Glazier 15.2 second stop as he comes back down to 10th position. Well, he actually was able to undercut him So Mojica actually ahead of Glazier, and as a matter of fact, we click over to them, and here they are battling for the 9th position right now, and what could be for the win of this race.
I would expect at this point for the Glazier car to have a little bit more speed, but I'm sure as they look at this, my thought is Pedro knows what's going on, and he realizes his tires are older. I don't know how much of a fight he would put if Bentley's going to get to him.
As Rivera and Mons come to pit road, and it would not be a finale for the Captain Esports Network here in Sim500 if Pedro Mojica didn't go to victory lane. And I explained it like this: up until this past Xfinity season, when Pedro obviously did not run full time here in 2024, and even in the Cup Series, Pedro Mojica had won every championship on the Captain Esports Network. So you go back to the first series we ever broadcasted was a Winter Super Speedway Series on Sunday nights, which then led into 2022. He won the Xfinity Series. Then he shows up in the Cup Series on 2023, wins Xfinity and Cup, and then obviously this year he took off. So it's been all Pedro. And it'd be kind of ironic if he went to victory lane here tonight to close it all out. As Wesley comes to victory lane, or to victory lane maybe, but pit road definitely. As Bentley, look at this, he is running tight with Pedro right now. This is the battle for potentially the win of this race right here.
Yeah, Pedro held him tight down there. He was right on the quarter panel trying to keep him pinned down so that he could not have the exit. The two of them are going to run physically door to door through turn 1 and 2 with Pedro holding him down so he doesn't have a good exit. Is to your point, I think they realize this could be for the win somewhere down the road. They have to be careful that they don't wear their stuff out here at this juncture of the race.
Here's the question: is Pedro still kind of pacing himself here, knowing that maybe Bentley's doing more of the work down there on that bottom side right now? Jorgensen now comes to pit road.
Yeah, hard to say. These two are probably going to figure out that this is not going to be conducive to a good long run, so they're going to settle back in. Bentley came in, but if I'm Bentley, I want to use the advantage of these fresh tires, work my way around Pedro, and run away and hide to the best of my ability. And this is going to somewhere be in the conversation when this race is over, is they're going to be 3 wide here if they're not careful.
As Tyler Dalton, Kevin DeBrown come to pit road here at lap number 105. 45 laps to go here as we continue to watch this fight, which is going to be for the lead, I think, eventually this race.
I would think this run, he's going to get a good run down the back straightaway, be in the draft, be able to duck underneath and see if he can make the pass here in 3 and 4, although he started to favor the high side. Now, this is an interesting thing, is Kevin King is out to a 13-second lead, but these two have finished their final pit stops, if we're guessing it right, Chris, and this could be the battle for the lead, depending on where King cycles through and comes back to the racetrack.
Yeah, I would say they've definitely waited too long. If they're trying to make it another stop here, they waited too long to make that second stop. So these guys are definitely going to the finish of this race with 42 laps to go, as Jose Gonzalez back behind these guys makes a pass on Bobby Wetzel, as these two just lean on each other. I mean, they are so close together, Pedro could probably reach out and grab a can of dew.
You don't have to say anything about it. You just watch what happens here and see if Bentley's going to drive it in deep. He's going to run down, and Pedro's going to continue to hold him down. Now, Pedro's doing nothing wrong. He knows what he needs to do in order to hold Bentley at bay. And Bentley got a little loose down there on the bottom of the exit, and he's going to pay the price for that. But look at these two door to door.
Yikes. Don't hit each other, boys.
That is awesome. How cool is that?
I mean, we're obviously hoping that a certain word doesn't come into play here, as Pedro sends her into the corner that time by. Good stuff right here. I mean, great job by Bentley to hold that car down, because it is so easy. What is it, the old short track line? You pinch, you pay. Here it is. I mean, Pedro's pinching, and he hasn't paid for it yet as he chops the nose there. Bentley right on the rear. He's like, dude, give me a break here. I mean, this guy's...
And you got to recognize that Pedro has tires that are 6 laps older than Bentley. And Bentley is using up his 6-lap advantage here, trying to get around Pedro. And again, this is rightfully could be for the lead later in the race. So I don't blame Pedro for what he's doing. For Bentley, though, he's got to be frustrated or having a total blast. I don't know, Chris, which side you're on when you run like this.
I'm pretty sure in this case it's probably stressful. Now, later on tonight, when they talk about it, I'm sure it'll be fun.
And make no mistake, somewhere along the line, these two will realize what impact this little tussle had in their overall event. As this time, I think he's going to drive out underneath. Oh my, how close can you get?
I mean, just reach out and touch the spoiler. I mean, these two have been side by side for almost 10 laps straight now. This is great. I mean, this is borderline 8 wheels turn better than 4 right here.
Yeah, Bentley was in a little bit higher, so he was able to use a little more speed coming off the corner. Typically, the outside lane has the advantage, but it was a dead heat off of turn number 4. As this time, Pedro's got the better advantages.
Fuller and King are on pit road here, so that's why I cut the camera away there for a second. Both these guys on pit road. As we will watch these pit stops real quickly, and trust me, Pedro's still fighting with them. This is where I wish I could do a split shot, but I can't. As Fuller pulls away 14.9 and King now in. And this will, in about 10 seconds or so, will hand the lead over. As a matter of fact, there they go, right on by. So Pedro and Bentley Glazier to the lead as King gets his 4 tires and fuel, and he pulls away 15.5. And now the leaders are right here. Pedro Mojica and Bentley Glazier literally going at it with each other here.
And we'll have to see the advantage they have as they come across the stripe to those who had just pitted. Jose Gonzalez still out there with that strategy that he has. He's worked his way into the top 5 as this will not quit.
I don't see it happening, unfortunately, for a little bit here, but these two race each other super clean. They're being as respectful as you can for getting towards the end of this race and knowing that a win is on the line.
Well, and the bigger question here is these two have a 16-second lead over the 3rd place car of Kevin King, who pitted on lap 112. Does Kevin have enough speed to get back to these two and pass them by the end of this race? That's the million-dollar question.
Well, if we do the numbers here, Kevin's got 16-lap newer tires than Bentley Glazier does, and he's got some 22-lap newer tires than Pedro Mojica does, so he's going to have the speed. As a matter of fact, last time by, he was 0.8 faster than these two as he crossed the start-finish line. As we look over here, I'm just checking out the track map to my right here. Mojica and them are crossing the line right now as Kevin is entering turn 3.
Yeah, I want to think that Kevin has enough. If he's a second faster with the number of laps he has, he's got more than 15 laps to make it up. As Bentley to the high side, he's going to get the run.
Got him. What a run that was. Wow. Pedro went to the top side, and Bentley said, I'm going higher.
Now the question is, will Bentley be able to drive away? He's got 0.3 of a second as they come off the corner, and he is stretching it. Now it's 0.5 at the line. So after all of that, Bentley Glazier has the speed, but I wonder how much he lost in that tussle with Pedro.
Yeah, how much did he hurt the tires? King just ran the fastest lap of the race, and it was a 0.6 of a second faster, and Bentley was a full second faster than Pedro Mojica. So, well, let's step away, get one final break in real quickly, and come back and get you to the finish of this race here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. It is the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series here on the Captain eSports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are at Homestead-Miami Speedway with 31 laps to go in the season. Bentley Glazier, who has put on a dominant effort, has finally cleared Pedro Mojica with a pretty impressive high side pass on the 58 car, but this race isn't quite over yet for the win. And I'm not talking about the 25 or the 58 car. I'm talking about this guy that is in third, and yes, it is the one that we have talked about all season long. And I mean, we've had the guys in stream talk about, you know, the fact that yes, he is a former pro driver, and it is in fact impressive that he has won 19 races this season. But you can't leave this man out of a running right now. And here he is, some 11 seconds back from Bentley Glazier, but he just ran the fastest lap of the race a minute ago to 33.74, and he is running 0.6 of a second faster each lap than the two leaders. And if he can keep that pace up, Kevin King could win this race. And if he does, it'd be the 20th win in 36 races, which again, when I bring up earlier, he didn't win his first race until race 6.
Yeah, just watching the speed of this car, I think he's got enough to get there. And I know that Bentley's going to wonder what it cost him to mess around there with Pedro, but we got another driver to update you with. Justin Fuller was back there at 14th at one point. He pitted lap 111, one lap before Kevin King. He has made his way up to 9th, but if we look at where everybody sits, Wesley Donaldson, who's running in 4th, is 19 seconds back from the leader, just 5 seconds out front of Justin Fuller. And with the speed that Justin has, hence scraping the right rear off the wall, I think he could probably get there to 3rd and maybe get a little further up, or at least 4th, Chris, with the speed that he has.
As he's catching Kevin Brown, who's had a great race here tonight, but Kevin with some 6 lap older tires, and then Jose Gonzalez is right in front of him, and his tires are almost 40 laps older. As he's on a one-stop strategy right now, so he should be able to blow by these guys. But Fuller doing everything he can to keep himself in the running, but unfortunately with the 5 cars off the track, Robert Friary, Josh Parker, Joey Bettina, Anthony Calantoni, Chad Coleman, the championship is pretty much all but clinched, basically, here from Kevin King. So he is on it and going for it right now. So it's down to 9.6 seconds here with 27 laps to go. As we look back here, Mark Jorgensen, as he tries to reel in Tyler Dalton. Mark gonna need some kind of miracle here if he wants to go to victory lane. But man, what a season for Mark. It has been helter-skelter, if you will. I know I use that term kind of a lot, but when you look at the definition of it, I mean, Mark's had all these great races, and then he's had all these wrecks he's been in, and could have easily been in the top 20 in points, which was the eligibility for the playoffs. And he unfortunately wasn't able to make it. And I mean, how many times he's been right there running with the 29, and he'll admit it to you. It hurts that he's not able to beat him, but he's learned a lot watching him. And Mark obviously running in the 6th position right now. Here's Kevin and Justin battling behind him.
Yeah, Justin should be able to pull low and clear Kevin DeBrown and set sail for the next position is future star of the program. You see a champion there in Justin Fuller, but Mark Jorgensen Jr., I mean, he's done nothing but improve his craft all season long, and I expect him to be strong coming out of the gate when we get to February and Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's going to be a great race to be a part of. Of course, last year it was Wesley Donaldson who almost won everything during speed weeks at that point, but unfortunately had the early wreck in that race. And of course we had the storyline of Brian Macklin going for a 4th straight win, and then it came down to some last lap stuff that went on there at the end of the race, and Mike Kelly going to victory lane in that race. So come February, that race is going to be a wild one to watch as Joe Rourke passing Jose Gonzalez now for the 9th position here in this race. So, hey, real quickly, let's throw some shout-outs out as I've always done throughout the season here. 40 Racewear, of course. Jim Herrick and the guys doing a great job there building up his... oh, hold on, Wetzel. Is he... I think had to drop a water bottle out the window there on the back straightaway, but he's able to hold on to her. But 40 Racewear, of course, with gloves and shoes and T-shirts and so much more. Make sure you check out 40racewear.com. And my buddy Mark and MC Racing, big shout to him for his support, of course, throughout the season here. And, just want to say thank you for him for supporting the Captain Esports Network and putting his streams up there and watching all these races go on here each and every week. So if you ever get a chance to come through Fort Wayne and want to do some sim racing, go stop there at MC Racing downtown.
34.074 for Kevin King last time at the stripe of 34.822 for your leader. He is now 6 seconds back and just about to catch Pedro Mojica, who's out the front windshield. Let's bring you through to some of the other drivers in this event. Wesley Donaldson currently running 4th, Tyler Dalton running 5th, Mark Jorgensen is in 6th, Justin Fuller has come to 7th, Kevin DeBrown, EJ O'Rourke, and Jose Gonzalez round out your top 10. Mike Montesi still hanging in there, up 12 from his starting position, just outside the top 10 and 11th. Nelson Rivera, Justin Mons, and Jason Karlavage, along with David Comstock, round out your top 15. And a shout out to our boy Brian Wertman, unable to make the last couple races of the season. Saw he was enjoying the holidays with his family. We miss him at the racetrack and look forward to seeing him when the sun shines in Daytona back in February. Hope you're having a good time, Brian, and watching this race.
As Kevin King moves past Pedro Mojica for the 2nd position as he's 5.5 seconds back. Brian's been battling some health issues and other types of stuff out there, and Brian is, of course, going back to the past, obviously here. Brian's one of the first guys I ever got a chance to know on iRacing, racing with him 12 years ago, as him and Scott Simley and I racing together for a little bit and stuff. As I step away now and move on to my own type of thing down the road. Brian, obviously, I know you're going to listen to this stream at one point if you're not already, man. I appreciate everything, and I've always said that I have a real good knowledge for racing. That's until I met Brian Wertman. If there's anybody that knows something more than I do, it's that guy. So obviously Brian Wertman is a class act and nothing but the best of him. So as we go on here, this lead, 20 laps, is down to 4 seconds. And as they say in racing, Kev, you should know this being a modified guy. If you can see him, it gets you motivated a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the typical sim racing call right now is here, kitty, 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 kitty. That's Kevin King. Looks out the windshield, and, he had to put together the full race. And remember that first stint, he went a little further. The second stint, he was out a little further. It had to be disconcerting, Chris, to run a different strategy. But right now, it's about to pay fruition as he's 3.2 seconds back and reeling him in. His speed is undeniable at this point. And I have to say this out loud. There's a lot of drivers working ill handling race cars. It is not out of the question at this point to see a caution at the end of this race. So let's not give the checkered flag to Kevin King. But right now, if it goes the way he has planned it out, he is really coming and is within 3 seconds of taking the lead here.
Now, let me go back to something really quickly. I go back to those stats. I did say that this race normally has 4 cautions or less, right? I never said a word about a caution-free race.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So anything can happen here when it's over with. But so far, it has been caution-free here. 17 laps to go. We got all of, down here, 11 cars on the lead lap right now as Bentley tries to lap the 93. And there's that blue car in the screen. That is Kevin, as he is, as you mentioned, playing Hey Kitty Kitty here with Bentley Glazier. And Bentley's like, dude, I have led like 3/4 of this race, and you're going to come catch me now?
I know, that's got to be so frustrating to look in the mirror and wonder what you could do as he moves around Gerald Livingston. You know, every time he sees a car in front of him, he's kind of hoping that he gets a clear racetrack, or at least a racetrack he wants to use in order to get the fastest lap possible. But he has to know that the inevitable is closing in, and can he possibly, that's the old adage, catching him's one thing, passing him's another. But with the way the speed has come to that 29, 1.8 seconds back right now, Kevin is reeling him in.
Well, it's the 16 lap newer tires that I think are playing a role, and of course, yes, you cannot rule out the speed that Kevin has in this car, but obviously he's doing what he has to do here tonight, and potentially getting that 20th win this season. Is Montesi going to go past Jose Gonzalez? So the one-stop strategy move definitely hurting those guys. As Carl Levi's is 14th now, a lap down, and then Montesi getting past Gonzalez is now at 11th.
Yeah, sometimes that strategy pays off if there is a caution in the right place in the race, and other times we saw this happen with Mike Kelly at one point this season. The strategy just completely backfires, and if it does, it's atrocious. It goes really wrong for you.
As King moves inside of the 96 car of Gerald Livingston, there's 14 laps to go. I mean, if you're Bentley, do you want a caution here? I mean, because he showed...
Not until you get past me. He's within 1 second closing the gap, so Bentley has to know. The one who wants a caution is Pedro. Pedro's been fast enough, and now he's 9 seconds back, so he'd love to have a caution and throw his hat in the ring for a potential win on the short run.
Anybody on the lead lap probably wants one right now, I would say, because they could have a shot to win this thing with some kind of strategy, but right now looking clean and green. Let's check on Tyler Dalton back here as he's trying to chase down Wesley Donaldson here in front of him, 2/10 back. As Wesley slides up the track, Tyler going to paint the bottom. And trying to get the
these two have been battling each other quite a bit this year, it seems like. The 91 and the 19, the juxtaposition of the number. We tend to see these two, and they work together quite a bit in the channel. So
up front, sorry, Kevin, to the outside. And King gonna complete the pass here on the top side, and Bentley, I mean, he's trying to fight on the bottom here, but
hold on a minute. Oh, okay,
got him. Let's say Kevin's got the groove here as King goes
clear.
10 laps to go. Next time
P1.
by. I mean, that's just
10 laps, man. That's the way the season goes. That's cutting it close, but yeah, I'll tell you, what a great run for that 29 tonight.
Yeah, he is obviously not going to lead the most laps. Bentley will get that, but he is shown up when the time to show up is. Wesley got loose there below Tyler, or above Tyler, I should say.
Whoa. Nelly, that was one of those hold on a minute moments.
I was going to say, these two have their own same channel here. That could have been very interesting in that Discord if things would have happened. But Tyler clears him for the 4th position. Wesley back to 5th.
Yeah, these two battling each other have to take notice that if they slow themselves up too much, Mark Jorgensen Jr. is sitting right there behind him, only about 3 seconds, and he'll be able to reel him in that long run, as that 88 might have enough speed to get there. As here comes the 51. I thought that Justin Fuller would clear all these cars. I'm curious in these final 10 laps if he's got enough speed to get up there and get himself a top 5 tonight.
And now he's
currently in 7th.
He's in the wall now.
Yeah.
That'll allow Kevin Brown probably to go by. So I know we really didn't get a chance to show this tonight, but let's show you what the point standings looked like going into the race tonight, because there was a pretty tight battle with Chad Coleman, Kevin Brown, and Wesley Donaldson. And Chad, unfortunately, is going to falter a big amount here tonight. I would say at least to the 6th position, if not 7th or 8th when it's over with in the point standings here, which Mike Kelly should finish 3rd likely. Well, no, I shouldn't say likely, because Mike's in 17th right now. So Kevin Brown could jump up there to the 3rd position when it's over with here tonight. So there's still that middle section right there that could have anything open here when it's over with. So Kevin
Yeah, the
King.
Browns been consistently sneaky, good finishes at the end of the season and put together a good championship run.
Yeah, Kevin, I mean, at first, there's been some runs here in the last few weeks, as a matter of fact, and even tonight for a little bit, Kevin was back a little bit. I'm like, man, he's struggling, and here he is up there in the top 10 in the 7th position right now. With 7 laps to go this time by for Bentley Glazier, who runs in second. You can't help but feel terrible for the guy. I mean, he just went out there and led 3/4 of this race. And of course, the question you're going to ask is should he have ran that second run a little bit longer than, you know, the 46 laps or 47 laps that he did, because he hit it at lap 96, which is just shy of 100. But he ran the 2-stop strategy basically 50-50-50, where Kevin went long both ways, and here he is now up front.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a 2.5 second deficit, and the question I want to ask him is, how much of those 2.5 seconds was left on the racetrack battling Pedro for those laps?
Yeah.
He really needed to clear Pedro and get away. And I think this would have been a different story here tonight. But unfortunately, Kevin was able to take advantage of those two racing hard and run them down and drive around them. And I'm not saying that would have been the difference for Glazier to win, but certainly when we get a chance to talk to him in these next couple laps, as this thing winds down, it's got to be a question on his mind.
5 laps to go as King has crossed the line in what is about to be the wrap-up of the 2024 season. And again, I want to throw out some more shout-outs to all the viewers that have been hanging out. Of course, all 36 races. I know it's been a long season and stuff, from the Sony Benfield crew to obviously Miss Weeks, to Atomic Burrito, to all you guys. Much appreciated coming out and hanging out here on Monday nights. And, big shout-out to Joey Jatina for allowing me to come out. And I'm just kind of throwing a number out there off the top of my head here really quickly. Somewhere in the range of 150 broadcasts, I think, when it's over with, from the Xfinity side to the Cup side. Not to mention being able to go run a couple races and even win one. No comments, Burrito. It's definitely been a lot of fun. So thank you, Joey Jatina, for allowing myself to be a part of this community and stuff. It's a good one, and I know it's in good hands. And whoever takes over this seat next season is going to have a lot of fun with these guys, because they definitely step up their game on these tracks. And I know what little flaws that are in this league at times. Joey cleans them up, and you see the racing is always phenomenal here. So I just wanted to again throw a little shout out to everybody, and appreciate Sim500, NC811 for allowing me to be a part of the broadcast as Mark Jorgensen takes the car to pit road with 2 laps to go. And most of all, my partner here, Kevin England, for coming on board. I know you and Joey had talked about it before, and Joey brought the idea up, and I was like, bring him, let's go. And you've been on board pretty much ever since that Watkins Glen race, where we took over the Cup Series and went on our way, man. I appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, Chris, it's been a great partnership. I've enjoyed Captain Esports broadcasts, whether it's, on Monday nights or every once in a while, just find you and jump back in. But, I as much as we could talk about everything that happened, it's all comes down to the drivers. I think of people like Ron Hollifield and Joe Hudson and others, Glenn Campbell as well. That was a sideways moment. The drivers are what makes the series. They have a great place to race. They show appreciation. Maybe they show up for one race. Maybe they show up for all the races, or some mix in between. But love to watch these guys come out on Monday nights and battle as Kevin King crosses the line to finish the season. I think that's the great sentiment, is thanks to all the drivers for giving us a great show.
As Kevin King, win 20, is the champion of the 2024
Incredible.
Cup Series for Sim500, as he wins his first championship and officially hits that 20th win of the season. Congratulations to Kevin King, who gets the championship. Bentley Glazier, Pedro Mojica finishes second. Wesley Donaldson finishing fourth behind Mojica. Tyler Dalton, your top 5, as Kevin will come down here to celebrate. and what has been, in the end, a dominant season for this 29 car.
I'll tell you, he put on a great race tonight. Put it all together from all the different stints that he ran, the tire strategy. He did something a little bit different and still, in the end, had enough speed to get the job done. For a period of time, though, it looked a little dubious as Bentley Glazer ran away from it. And I think, again, Bentley, when we talk to him, we'll have a couple comments to see what he could have done to get the win here tonight, but take nothing out of it. 20 wins on a season with a stout field of drivers like we have at Sim500. I don't know that that'll ever be topped, Chris.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough one. I mean, I go back to plenty of times I've seen like Daniel Falkingham or Pedro Mojica win tons of races, but this is a pretty dominant effort from Kevin King. And as I think about the numbers here really quickly, 36 races, so the first 6 he didn't win. So you take those 6 out of the way, that means he won 20 of 30 races. And there was a stretch he didn't even show up. So it's very impressive when you think about it from that standpoint. But we'll talk to him here in a few minutes as he's grenaded the motor, celebrating to go to victory lane here tonight as we show you the final results here from Homestead-Miami Speedway in the finale here. As I look for your buttons, here it is. As King wins it, Bentley Glazer, dominant effort, but finishes second. Pedro Mojica third. Wesley Donaldson fourth, and Tyler Dalton finishing fifth. Kevin DeBrown sixth. Justin Fuller seventh. E.J. O'Rourke eighth. Mike Montesi ninth, and Jose Gonzalez finishing 10th. Nelson Rivera finishing 11th. Justin Mons 12th. Jason Karlovash 13th. Bobby Wetzel 14th, and David Comstock finishing in the 15th position. 16th goes to Mike Kelly. Stoney Benfield 17th. Gerald Livingston 18th. Mark Jorgensen ends up 19th with Robert Friery the 3rd and 20th. Josh Parker 21st. Joey Jatina 22nd. Anthony Calantoni and Chad Coleman, unfortunately, the 24 starters in the race here this evening that goes caution-free for the first time in the Cup side of things here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll talk to those top 3 drivers here momentarily. And I want to check on... Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to get the numbers because there's not an actual season up for it. I was going to see the Xfinity side really quickly, but it is not available. Let's talk to Pedro Mojica, the 2023 champion, who officially will hand the championship over to Kevin King. As we bring him over, as Pedro finishes in the 3rd position. And Pedro, I was starting to wonder a little bit there. I was like, man, after all the winning this guy did, as I was broadcasting in this booth, it's like it would be fitting if that 58 went to victory lane. But you tried, and you put on a heck of an effort there with Bentley Glazer. There mid-race as you had a little bit older tires, but nonetheless, man, you fall up a little short. 3rd position, and still a great run of races here this season.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Chris. Yeah, I made sure I finished top 3 at least, man. I wanted to talk to you one last time, man, before you went off to the sunset for next year. But yeah, man, no, it was a good race. I kind of beat myself up. I wish, again, like Bentley has done this multiple times, and I guess I'm just too hard-headed to think like tires will last. But he got out there, and I'm thinking, well, I should be able to run him back down. He's probably using up his stuff. Well, problem was but we just ran out of time. So It's like I was 3 seconds behind when I pitted, and then from that point on, I was just at a disadvantage unless a yellow came out to reset us. So he had a 3-second advantage on me pretty much the most of the race. So I was just trying to play catch up the whole time, which is just hard to do when you don't have yellows, and then you're at a disadvantage with tires. So there at the end, I said, screw it. Like, everybody sounds like they're pretty spread out. I don't think yellow is going to come out. Let me pit early and kind of force everybody's hand and just see, like, if I can get enough ahead of him to where he would burn his stuff up. But unfortunately, like, he pitted, like, he had a big gap. Like, he was like 5 seconds ahead of me when I pitted the last time. And when he came out of the pits 5 laps later, after I did, he was a second behind me. So he was right there. So it's like, didn't really I gained time, but I needed more just to kind of give me a little bit of a cushion. But I raced the hell out of them. I know that.
It was fun to watch.
I knew that was my only chance of winning, was like maybe burning his stuff up, and maybe if I held him off long enough, our tires would equalize. But there was just too much of a gap on tires, and he just had more grip to roll the top, and I kind of messed up. Like I should have just committed more to the top, but I didn't drift it up enough to drive down the hill. I was hoping to like drive down the hill to get a straight shot off the corner and then work out. But either way, like I don't think I could have held them off much longer, because like my tires were done. So there at the end, I was just hanging on, managing my position and trying to hang on to third till I could get interviewed.
Was that ever a thought when you two were battling each other that you think Kevin would catch you guys eventually? And if you did, was there ever the thought to, you know what, let's go single file here for a little bit so we don't hurt our lap times so where he catches us?
No, I didn't even think about Kevin, honestly. I was just like full focus on Bentley and running as hard as I could to try to stay in front of him. Once we settled it out, you know, I got updates from Chad about where Kevin was, and I was like, oh shit, I think he's gonna, I was like, he's definitely gonna get me. I don't know if he's gonna get to Bentley or not, but then Chad's like reading off lap times, and it's just like, yeah, dude, he's gonna get both of us. And so, yeah, I guess, yeah, I wasn't really thinking about Kevin until after the fact, but by then it was, you know, I wasn't gonna win, so it didn't really matter. Just as long as I was top 3, I was happy.
Well, you definitely made it entertaining to watch. But man, I was telling Kevin during the broadcast, it's like we showed up in 2022. You went out there and you won the Winter Super Speedway Championship. Then you got in the Xfinity season in 23, where, you know, Daniel pretty much ran the first half of the season. And then I still remember in my head that Nashville race where you kind of you got the win later on. I think it was right after that, but you two battled, and I think you did win that Nashville race. I think about it more and more now, but you end up winning, and then from there you kind of took off and then won the championship in the end. And then obviously 24, you win both championships, or in 23 I should say, you win both championships. So I mean, heck, to win 4 championships here, it was definitely a fun run here.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Yeah, you were good luck for me. I don't know what it is about your broadcast, but it brought a lot of luck for me, for sure. So, hey, man, I'll take it anytime. So, you know, you're always more than welcome back. You don't have to broadcast, just, you know, just be present, I guess. I don't know. Just put your logo on the broadcast somewhere, we might be all right. But, or maybe we need to put a logo on a car next year if I run. So,
I'm Pedro Spotter.
Yeah,
now.
no,
Look out.
yeah. But no, man, I appreciate everything you've done. I think you've done a fantastic job for the league. Got a great voice for broadcasting, man. So it sucks to see you go, but fully understand like why you're doing it. So just glad that I got to be as successful as I did, and you know, during your time here. So no, I appreciate everything you've done.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, great job. Send some shouts whoever you like to.
Yeah, again, Chris, appreciate everything you've done, man. Both you and Kevin with these broadcasts, y'all do such a great job with it, and appreciate the effort that goes into it. All the admins at Sim500, appreciate everything they do. It's been a long year, but they've done a good job just keeping the atmosphere for the most part loose. We have our up and downs and arguments and stuff, but overall, like they make the league fun to be a part of. NC811, appreciate them for everything they do, sponsoring the league, everything they've done the last couple years. Gonna miss them, but appreciate everything they've done. All the guys on Team Name, appreciate them. Bentley for a hell of a race. The guy's good, man. He's good. He runs quick. And Homestead, he's really good. I don't know what he has here, but he's very competitive here and always up front. So, and we've had a lot of good battles, and this is another one to the battles we've had here. But appreciate him racing me clean. I feel like when I race like that with some, it's like I end up getting taken out, especially for how many laps we race side by side. So kudos to him, man. He did a fantastic job. And then Kevin King for the dominant performance he's had. I mean, we've seen dominant performances here at Sim500, but Kevin just took it to another level, which just shows that he's good, man. He's really good. He's always been good since the NR03 days, and it's just, to me, it's impressive for somebody to be in it so long. He went away, he came back, he went away again, he came back, and to be able to be as competitive as him and how good he is, I mean, he's a deserving champion here at Sim500. So congrats to him and just the unbelievable season he had.
Was it as close, real quickly? I know you mentioned the whole usually get close to people like that and you have accidents with Bentley. Was it as close as it looked on the screen on our end?
Oh yeah, there was a couple zero accidents popping up on my screen. So whatever iRacing did to fixing that code, it worked for me and Bentley's connection. So
I mean,
yeah,
you guys
that
were
was fun.
leaning. It was impressive, man. Well, great job, man. Hey, I appreciate your time as always, and all the best. And we'll talk after the broadcast.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
You too, buddy. Pedro Mojica finishing in the 3rd position here tonight. Congratulations again on a great run, and obviously he's a great champion of the series, and obviously going to pass the torch here to Kevin King when it's all said and done. And Kevin, I know this is probably going to be a little bit of a heartbreaking conversation, but at the same time, a very dominant effort from Bentley Glacier tonight.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that had a more up and down race here. Bentley, you dominated the event. You had an exciting, enthralling battle with Pedro, and in the end, you had to watch Kevin King catch you and drive around for just a little bit. It was the entire spectrum tonight for you here at Homestead, but you have to be proud of the effort. You just about won the season finale.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially the battle with Pedro there. I don't know what I could have done different. Maybe pitted with him, but he's so fast. I did everything I could.
One of the questions I have for you is, as you battled with Pedro, I know every lap you were trying to do what you could do to get around him. Do you think if you had cleared him, you'd have broken a little more pace to get out before Kevin could have run you down?
I did hurt my tires racing him, and Kevin was so fast, I don't think so. I think it's probably better getting past with 15 to go than 2 to go. It probably would have got me.
Yeah, fair enough. I have to say, you put on an amazing show, the two of you. We were in car for part of it, watching as you were physically touching. Kudos to iRacing for the model, because you two were literally leaning on each other and giving us some exciting racing. Take us through your race from the beginning and what's your idea. I mean, you had speed right from the get-go, and even though Kevin was catching you at the end of that first stint, you still had him covered by 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's when I should have pitted later, I think, because he was definitely catching me, and then like towards the end of the run, he's only pulling about a 10th on me, so I should have stayed out. But everyone's so good at saving tires, and I kind of lacked that, so I just wanted to see how far I could get out front, and I got out 6 seconds, so I was pretty happy about that.
What makes you so good at this racetrack? You were on cruise control for multiple segments.
I don't know. I just like this track a lot. I like the banking, and I tried different steering ratio tonight because I've struggled this season at the 1.5 miles. So
Bentley, yeah, say it.
I was saying it's been a rough season.
Yeah, but you came on strong in the second half of it, and that leads to some positive moments to take you into next year's race. I mean, it really seemed like the second half you showed up, and when you were on, you were as good as anybody out here tonight. You coming back for the 25 campaign?
Definitely. I love racing here.
There you go. That's outstanding. So Bentley, final time for the season, finish second. Give a shout out to whoever you want to say hello to, give credit to. Thank your sponsors. Go ahead. The podium is yours.
Just thanks Sim500, and thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank my teammates who run a different league at OGR, and yeah, thanks to everybody racing, and thanks Pedro. I had fun. I knew I was going to lose the race battling Pedro like that, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were debating whether you were going to be mad in the moment, but we knew in the end you would really enjoy that, because that's what you're here for, right? That kind of racing is what you live for, coming into iRacing and running these type of events, and it's a great way to end the season.
For sure, especially this track. This is one of my favorite tracks, so yeah.
There you go, Bentley Glacier. He finished second tonight after an outstanding run and an incredible battle with Pedro, and in the end, he saw Kevin King slip around, but you have to be happy with the performance he had tonight, and it shows a lot of promise for the 25 season. As we let Bentley go, we'll turn to Chris, who's caught up with our winner, and 20 wins strong in the 24 season. Incredible. It's Kevin King in victory lane.
Yeah, Kevin
Thanks,
King.
Bentley.
As
Thank you.
obviously Bentley, a great run there in the second position. It was fun watching him battle with Pedro there for that second place finish, and well done on his part. But yeah, it's time to crown the champion here. Kevin King goes to victory lane here tonight as he gets that 20th win, 25 poles, 20 wins, and a championship to go along with it tonight. Congratulations, Kevin, as you get the old come from behind win, if you will, in this case, but also that you are the champion for Sim500's NC811.org Cup Series.
Yeah, thank you. That was an interesting race. I was doing like a race within a race type of thing, just kind of watching what Fuller was doing, and Bentley just took off, and I was like, oh man, he'll fall off eventually. He didn't really fall off. And then Pedro was like, I'm gonna go too. So I kind of figured I was gonna finish third. Like I said, I just needed to monitor what Fuller was doing, and then race accordingly. And then that last stint, I felt like they pit a little too early. I know I caught Pedro, and I was probably within a couple laps of passing him, but I think he pit with like 60 to go, and then Bentley pit with like 55 or so to go, which I thought was a little early for the last stint. So I short fueled, and I was like, you know what, let's see what I can do. And I just kind of drove pretty hard the entire run, and it paid off. I thought eventually the tires would melt off, but I think his died a little bit quicker than mine because of I think he was battling Pedro pretty hard there when they came out together. So yeah, it all worked out. Obviously I'm stoked. I mean, I put a lot of effort into running well and finishing well, and I felt like I put a good season together. So to cap it off with a win, to secure it is super awesome.
Obviously, the season, I mean, in itself here, you go the first 6 weeks and you don't win until you come actually to this track back in April, and you get that first win. And then I was just thinking through this a little bit. 20 wins in basically 30 starts, but I say 30 starts, you actually missed roughly 5, I think it was, or so races in that. So I mean, when you look at it that way, it's like, man, you really pulled off 20 wins in a very short span.
Yeah, like I said, I there's some good tracks for me. I'm pretty familiar with the car, obviously. I feel like I know a decent amount of how to save tires and when to go and all that fun stuff. But a lot of good tracks, and I was really fortunate situationally wise to where I had a good enough pace, and didn't have any bad things happen during the races, and was able to capitalize on those races that I was running well in. And then some I didn't, and didn't go that way. But
right.
My expectation definitely wasn't to go in there and get a pole and lead every lap and do all that fun stuff. I feel like when I was way younger, that was definitely my mindset. But I feel like as I've gotten older, I'm more about how consistent can I make myself and make the run the entire time, to where it's to my benefit, right? And that's kind of what I focus on more so than pure speed. And I feel like that's helped me along the way the last 10 years or so. And sometimes it hasn't helped me where I'm not quite fast enough where I should be faster because I'm just a little bit too cautious in certain situations. So I felt like the season with that mentality definitely went my way, because we had a lot of green flag racing. So those guys that really drove really hard and I didn't drive as hard, it worked in my favor because as the run went on, my tires came to my advantage there. So like I said, a lot of situational things, very fortunate. Had a blast the entire season for the most part. Definitely, like I said before, I love racing with guys that I've raced with and known for so long. So to come out here and kind of showcase that I can still do it. there were some comments made that I only come here to win, which I thought was amusing, because I have won in other series. So I thought that was funny by certain people, but my expectation wasn't to come in here and do what I did. It was to come in here, have fun with my friends, and enjoy a Rex League with people that I've known for a very long time, and that's what I was able to do.
And you earned it, man. You definitely worked hard, because there was a stretch of the season where there were a lot of cautions, and you had to come through the field and do some things that you probably wouldn't have expected. And there was just different curveballs thrown at you throughout the season, which obviously made it interesting. And that's where, Kevin and I have talked about this. Yeah, there's 20 wins, but I can think of 15 different ways you had to win those 20 different races. So yeah, it's definitely been earned, on your end. And I can't help but think about, this race here and how you come from so far back. And you talked about those guys pitting a little earlier there in that second run. Was it your mindset the whole entire way from the beginning to go as far as you could on your tanks of fuel and get the tires at that point?
So I first started the race and I was like, okay, let me clutch. And so I was holding up the entire field. I felt like just trying to save fuel because I thought it was going to be a fuel race, is what my fuel calculator was showing me. So I was like, oh man, I got to clutch. And then I was like, is that going to make the most sense? The fall off is usually pretty bad, and you might just be able to just do a 2-stop and still be way faster. And then Bentley was like, see you later. And I was like, okay, well, there's one. And then Paige was like, see you later too. And then like, he didn't go quite as hard. He sat in front of us about a second. And then I still tried to save fuel. And then really, like I said, I was just maintaining with Justin to see what he was doing. And then when they pit, some guys pit at 50 to make it a 50-50 race. And he stayed out and those other guys pit. I was like, okay, well, I'm losing literally a second a lap. And I think we stayed out almost like 10, 20 laps later than them. So my expectation wasn't to go a fuel stint. It was really just mimic whatever Justin did. And so when he pit, I just waited a couple more laps to have a tire advantage on him. And I came out and I was like, okay, minus 18 seconds. Well, I'm not catching those guys. They're gone because as soon as I do get to them, they're going to pit again and then it starts all over. And by the time I get to them again, the race is over. So like I said, I was just gauging myself off of Fuller, and my expectation was to pit a little earlier with those guys, but the longer he stayed out, the longer I stayed out, and then when he pit, I just pit. So I knew what the point situation was for the most part. I didn't know exactly where I needed to finish. I just knew if I finished really close to him or better in front of him, that I would obviously would have a good shot of winning the championship. So I would have loved to just pit with those guys and just race the hell out of them and had fun that way, but I had to be a little bit smarter with just kind of like, okay, do I pit? Doesn't make sense to pit. There's no reason, because if I do pit, yellow comes out. Now our race is flipped a little bit. Now I have to drive harder, and that's when stuff starts to happen. So it definitely took some time, some out of me to not get out there and go after it. But I try to play smart in the long run.
Well, it definitely has been a lot of fun to watch you this season and get to know you a little bit, as we've gotten to chat a few times. But nonetheless, I am disappointed to see Beasley not been here. I know he's been busy and got some things going on, but I mean, I think he'd been nice to have here to celebrate with you. But either way, in all seriousness, man, congratulations, and send some shouts whoever you like to.
Yeah, shout out Beasley. He, I don't know what he was doing. I think he's watching Clemson practice or something.
Hey, they got a transfer today. He's probably celebrating.
Yeah, so shout out to him. He'll get it back going again when the super speedways come up, because that's Daytona week is probably on his mind. But want to thank especially you guys for putting on the broadcasts, sponsorships, all those guys, 811 that put on the sponsorships for the league for so long. All the drivers who come out every single week and showcase. I know it's one of the longer seasons I've ever been a part of. Probably too long, to be honest with you. And to have the same core group, I feel like, come out consistently is really cool to see. There's always going to be some drop off in participation, but a lot of those guys stuck around, so I appreciate those guys. I definitely want to shout out some people that really had my back during the season when some things were said that just because I was doing a little too good, apparently. And I had a few guys reach out to me and let me know that they appreciated kind of what I do for them and try to help people as much as I can. And that's what I've always strived to do. So I feel like, those guys, I definitely want to tip my cap to and thank them a lot, because it means a lot to me when people kind of have my back without me knowing what's going on. So it's going to be a one and done season for me. I came in here having fun. I had fun, but there's some stuff that happened that I wasn't too thrilled with, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'll just go out there and thank all those guys that did put on a good show and had good fun with me. Those guys who didn't have that same mindset against me, then you can kick rocks for all I care. I won't be here next season, unfortunately, to have fun with my friends. But I've had a fun time talking to you. I've had a fun time talking to new people, and getting them some knowledge that I have and sharing that stuff with them. I've enjoyed that forever. And anyone who ever wants any information, just hit me up. I am not scared. I'm not shy. I'm not gonna withhold anything. I'm an open book with all that stuff. So all you gotta do is ask. So appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit, and been a pleasure to call your races, and all the best to you, Kev.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
You too, buddy. Kevin King, the winner tonight, champion of Sim500 2024 in the NC811.org Cup Series. Congratulations to him, and obviously, congrats to him on winning the championship, Kev. But unfortunate seems like the way it's going to end there for him. But nonetheless, it's there are so many things about this season that we're going to remember. You and I talked back when I did the podcast for a short run of what we were going to see, and I mean, we saw everything and more. We saw new winners, we saw upsets, we saw a dominant season from somebody. We saw races that turned into I don't know how to put it, wreckfest. But we saw some very clean races. We saw close finishes. We saw it all this season, and there's a lot to talk about when it's all over with here. And I know this is going to be a season I think is going to be talked about for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I sit here and think about February was so long ago, and the next February is so close. And I think about the highlights of the season, the first-time winners, the surprise wins, the dominant season by Kevin King certainly was a headline, but the improvement and the emergence of different drivers this season that I think are going to be spectacular to watch. I'm excited for the future of the league and what comes through. Got to say thanks to 811 and the service that they provided in supporting the league as they go for their swine song, their roll-off race. We want to thank them for all that they did and look forward to naming the next title sponsor for Sim500 for next year. And Chris, I've got to say to you, it's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. I've worked for different broadcasting companies, but I don't know that I've had any more fun than I've had this season working with you, and you're going to be missed. And somewhere along the line, we're going to have to kick the can down the road, see if we can reconnect. But go enjoy and whatever holds in your future. I wish you the best. And again, the same sentiment I had earlier is the drivers. The friendships, the conversations, the new guys. Jason Karlovac came in this season. We didn't know who he was, although a veteran in his own right. Mark Jorgensen Jr. joined the new guys that came through, and looking forward for the new rookies to next year, but also Bobby Wetzel and EJ O'Rourke and some of these guys that have been around here for a long time, and they made it fun. Kevin DeBrown, what a great season he had. And Tyler Dalton for all the work that he puts in behind the scene, Wesley Donaldson, the WBD Diecast company, and the support that they have. And how about it, Chris? They race on Monday nights, but they race Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yes. They race every night of the week.
Friday. I mean, if you want to be a sim racer, you got a great home, and Sim500 has got a little bit of everything with the late models, the GT3 cars, certainly Cup trucks, even going back to the antiques that they run. They run everything, but I haven't seen street stocks. But this is a great home for people, a great community, and it's been a great season. And I hope everybody takes some time, gets recharged, and looking forward to coming back here to Daytona in February.
Don't give Joey any ideas.
Yeah, street stocks, Joey.
Street stocks, here we
Come
go.
on,
No, man, it's been a pleasure. And you've been a lot of fun. You've been a lot of help to me. You've been able to add that second voice that I know a lot of people for the 4 years I've been doing this again. A lot of people have come on, and when I've asked for feedback and stuff, they're like, dude, you need a second person. Dude, you need a second person. And I've honestly said the situation is I don't have the money to do it or anything like that. And I don't want somebody to sit here and do something for free. But, Kevin, you've obviously stepped in and you've made this a lot of fun. And it's been obviously great to get to know you guys. And obviously you and I will stay in touch. And
anytime, my man.
Yes, we'll do that. But nonetheless, appreciate what Kevin England has done, and more importantly, 811. I mean, they're obviously stepping away after tonight, and number one from NC 811. Obviously, I know we never had a chance really to talk to each other. I think we talked once at the beginning of the relationship and kind of did an interview together. But anybody from 811, those are some hardworking people, and they do some work that puts their lives on the line, basically, when you look at it, with power lines and things like that. And 811's there to support you and tell you, look, do the right thing here. Call before you dig and all that. There's a reason why they say that stuff. And I know we can kind of joke and say, hey, know what's below when you got a car passing you or whatever. But in all seriousness, that's the reason we say it, is because you want to know what's below ground, because everything is below ground now, wire-wise and cables and so on and so forth. And big shout out to what 811 does for this country, and big shout out to Ann. So, and thank you for those guys for doing that. So, and then obviously to everybody at Sim500, I know this is it, and never say never. You never know that what can happen. As my wife and I always tell each other, and in a way it's kind of joking, but in a way we say it in seriousness. We always tell each other 1 hour at a time, because each hour you just never know what could change in your life or something like that. So, I had no plans back in 2020 to step forward and do broadcasting again on iRacing, but here we are almost 5 years later. So,
I got to say this to you, Chris, just when they thought you were getting out, they pulled me back in. I was a NASCAR 2003 broadcaster back in the OG days of RLM TV, and I broadcast some of these guys when they were young.
Right.
And I went away for probably 6 or 8 years, and they brought me back. So here's the saying, like, in the next 6 years, just check back in if you're not around.
I might be in a walker.
Come on now.
I might be in a walker by then. But anyway,
I will be.
Come on, man. But no, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Joey Jatina, for allowing me to be a part of this, for reaching out to me, and to all the drivers. It's been great to know all of them. And matter of fact, I'm gonna jump down here in a minute and talk to all of them and tell them thank you and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. To the viewers, thank you. But hey, I gotta come back and do it tomorrow night too. So let's do some more broadcasting. But Kevin's been a blast, and obviously we'll stay in touch. And thank you again.
Thanks to all the viewers too.
Absolutely, it's been a blast. And you know what? Before I forget, there's one important thing I have not done, and that's show you the point standings, how the final results are going to do. So let's go and cut this up really quickly and get this to everybody for their chance to see. But Kevin King does win the championship by 24 in the end over Justin Fuller. Wesley Donaldson jumps up 3 spots to finish third in the points. So a season in which you and I both predicted at the beginning would be a breakout season for the Illinois driver, and he definitely did what he had to do this season to break out. And I'm not good at multitasking sometimes. Let's get this uploaded for everybody to see it. But Wesley Donaldson ends up finishing third in the championship points. Fourth goes to Mike Kelly, who falls unfortunately 1 spot and actually ties with Kevin Brown, but Mike did get the win this season, so that'll be the tiebreaker there. Tyler Dalton ends up 6th by 2 over Chad Coleman, who falls all the way to 7th. Justin Mons finishes 8th. Josh Parker and Charles Van Schaik, that in the end goes to Parker because of the top 5s, 10-2 in that. So that is your official top 10 in the playoffs for 2024. So, all right, let's head out. As we appreciate Kevin England, appreciate NC811, the viewers, Sim500. Thank you all very much for allowing me to be a part of 3 years of a lot of fun in this series, and all the best to the next group of broadcasters that come in. And I have confidence that they'll keep this ball rolling, and if not, make it even better. Put it like that. So this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.